5,000 years, the number of years Korea holds its history. 74 years, the number of years Korea instilled democracy. As such, the initial stage of democratic development in Korea was tumultuous to say the least. Ideals of democracy were constantly corrupted by political leaders, who sought to extend an unrightful hand of dictatorship. But despite their unfamiliarity with democracy, citizens ardently fought back to preserve a nation ruled by the people. After its first implementation of democracy, South Koreans witnessed the rise and fall of 6 republics. These republics marked 5 major changes in the constitution of the nation, mainly due to the government leaders at that time trying to protect their own power at the cost of South Korea's collective national progress. Before the rapid economic growth during President Park's reign, South Koreans were largely indifferent about national politics, since the question of everyday sustenance dominated most people. Hunger was prevalent, and poverty was rampant. Luckily, increased industrialization gave South Koreans some hope that might put an end to poverty. People naturally became inclined to consider political rights. They demanded fair and direct elections, checks and balances, among others. As a result, President Park's reign ended when he changed the constitution to justify dictatorship. Park's charisma and his immense contribution to the economy did little to quell people's increasing desire for freedom. This ideology manifested a few years later as the June Struggle, a nationwide movement which greatly expanded the frontier of democratic thought in South Korea. In 1987, a surprising story hit the news. Park Jong-chol, a student at Seoul National University, was apprehended while taking part in a protest and was questioned for information regarding the protest leaders. But the young student was found dead in the office where he underwent a so-called interrogation. The government gave a nonchalant response to the public's questions.
조사관이 책상을
그 학생이 겁이 잔뜩 질려가지고 조사관이 책상을 탁 치니 하고 응? 쓰러졌답니다.
지금 그게 말이 됩니까?
책상을 탁 치니 억하고 쓰러졌다 이겁니까?
Fortunately, the truth was soon brought to light. Contrary to the government's fabricated tales, Jong-chol died from waterboarding torture by the police as a means to force information from the student. Media played an imperative role in spreading the news that Jong-chol died, preventing the attempts of the government to conceal that. Civilians began to take notes about how the government tried to hide news of it killing one of its people, and this triggered a major opposition threat against them.
그래서 학교 그 당시 학교 내에는 정보기관들이 다 들어와 있었거든요. 저희 대학도 들어와 있었어. 저희 대학도 학생과 옆에 군인 2명이 딱 앉아가지고 다 동태들을 파악하고 중앙으로 다 올려보냈대지. 교수들도 함부로 못했어. 교수들도 그 군인들 말 들어야 되고 그러한 그 굉장히 무섭고 공포적인 분위기가 시대를 감싸고 있을 때 박종철 열사의 고문 치사 사건이 일어나고 이건 굉장히 많은 시민들의 분노를 일으켰고 또 학생운동권에도 큰 영향을 미친 이러다가 우리 다 죽겠다.
Jong-chol's death opened their eyes against what was happening to their democratic rights, and more people started to join the protests to rebel against the government. The news that President Chun did not change the constitution from before the time of President Park's, which enabled the president to wield extreme authority, only added fuel to the already maddened South Koreans.
절망적이고 더 이상 기다릴 시간적 여유도 없게 됐다고 지적하고 다음과 같이 말했습니다.
본인은 얼마 남지 않는 촉박한 임기와 현재의 국가적 상황을 종합적으로 판단하여 중대한 결단을 내리지 않으면 안 되게 되었습니다. 이제 본인은 임기 중 개헌이 불가능하다고 판단하고 현행 헌법에 따라 내년 2월 25일 본인의 임기 만료와 더불어 후임자에게 정부를 이양할 것을 천명하는 바입니다.
Due to these two reasons, people went out to the streets with the slogan of 호헌 철폐 독재 타도, or abolition of constitutional law, overthrow of dictatorship. However, This was during the time of the '88 Olympics, and to protect global prestige, the government again concealed these protests. The Monday after the weekend saw even more universities taking part in the protest, causing the struggle to become a national event. The protest lasted for 19 days, during which Lee Han-yeol, a student at Yonsei University, was killed because of tear gas thrown at him by police, making the public furious. President Chun took matters to extremes when he ordered a garrison decree, officially permitting the use of lethal force against citizens. However, the international community did not sleep on this and severely criticized his action. The garrison also could not effectively control the protesters. Finally, on June 29, 1987, Chun resigned. The result of these countless sacrifices was a successful re-implementation of democracy in South Korea. The succeeding president, Roh Tae-woo, abided by the public's demands and finally confirmed a constitutional amendment, returning back to the parliamentary system where all South Koreans could vote. This change of regimes ultimately turned out to be meaningful with a successful result. This amendment started the Sixth Republic of South Korea and officially returned back to democracy. Some argue that the June protests slowed down the pace of South Korea's economic success, which has been increasing at an unprecedented speed. After all, the economy under President Chun, despite blatant infringement of civil rights, prospered. At the end of Chun's regime, Korea's GDP increased by an exceptional rate of 277.3%. Nevertheless, behind the lavish glow of the Han River miracle, the core engine that drives South Korean politics has been rotting to the core. Through a collective effort, the South Koreans realized a nation that is now ranked as 16th of 167 countries in the official Democratic Index. In addition to the political outcomes, the people also unknowingly pushed the ideological and social frontiers of the nation. The previously disinterested Korean public now realized that all power lies solely in their hands. This further manifested in the 2016-17 candlelight rallies, in which South Koreans underwent a peaceful protest to impeach the then president. South Korean politics had its backlash and struggle. Now, thanks to those who laid down their lives in the June 1987 protests, South Koreans would forever dream about a better tomorrow.
그 당시에 대학생들이 똘똘 뭉치지 않았나. 저 서울에 있는 수많은 대학생부터 각 지방에 있는 대학까지 똘똘 뭉쳐서 이겨낸 그 6월 항쟁. 우리도 그 당시 학생운동에 같이 했던 사람들 지금도 만나면 동지라 그래요. 동지. 목숨을 내놓아서 했기 때문에. 그 당시 잘못 잡혀가면 고문당해서 죽을 수도 있고 반병신돼서 나올 수도 있고, 그렇지만 거기에 굴하지 않고 거리에 나설 수 있었던 그러한 정의감, 이런 것들이 그 당시 대학생들을 대규모로 움직이지 않았나 그런 생각을 해요. 또 그러한 대학생들을 숨죽이면서 지켜봤던 수많은 시민들이 결국은 폭발해서 같이 합류해 준 게 6월 항쟁의 승리였다, 그렇게 보면 되겠습니다.
밤의 꿈은 아니리 오랜 고통 다한 후에 내 형제 빛나는 두 눈에 뜨거운 눈물들 한 줄